Good day, my name is Bluesuit and today I'll be going over my review of the vehicular based first person underwater action mech shooter called Aquanox Deep Descent. Aquanox Deep Descent takes place in planet Earth's distant future. War and greed have decimated the landscape and humans have chosen to abandon it to populate the oceans in dystopian underwater cities. You awaken as Kalen, the leader of a group of pilots recently brought out of cryosleep who are shocked to discover how their once flourishing world has been reduced to squabbling tribes of underwater brigands. Due to the partial amnesia caused by cryosleep, you'll have to discover who you were and how you fit into this new reality. The world that's been built is super detailed with lots of codex entries and established lore to discover, but the game's actual main story never really lives up to that. While its content is great, discovering your past and working towards a more peaceful ocean, the awkward voice acting of the main character and completely linear progression really take the power out of its delivery and will lead most players to skip through the majority of the dialogue. The world of Aquanox Deep Descent, called Aqua, is an expertly crafted, beautiful water world that has just enough exploration and discovery to feel alive, but doesn't come near rivaling games like Subnautica. The map of Aquanox Deep Descent is split up among a handful of small regional maps that feel roughly the size of a few city blocks. Each one has a different look to it, but because the story is so linear, you don't really have a lot of reason to explore them that much outside of collecting small pockets of resources here and there. And these pockets are really so small compared to the quest rewards that exploring really doesn't feel properly rewarded overall. The gameplay is really the one solid bright spot in the game, and it's really not even that bright. Your ship is filled with customizable gadgets and weaponry, and the controls, while unintuitive, are satisfying once you get used to them. There are several upgrades you can make to your ship, as well as a dozen or so different weapon options depending on your playstyle. However, what should feel like an underwater mech shooter ends up as just a watered-down mech shooter. Due to the underwater nature of the game, combat almost moves in slow motion and usually just involves chasing enemies with your reticle over and over again until the next fight. The gameplay loop goes like this. You hear a little story, then you fight some guys to get to the next part of the story, and so on until it's over. The problem is that the story takes so long to ramp up, and the combat never really evolves after the first couple of missions, leaving you with a very unengaging gameplay loop with zero replayability. There are also a handful of technical issues that really stamp out the immersion created by the well-designed levels. I was constantly getting stuck on objects while enemies were passing right through objects. On top of this, the enemy AI really didn't seem to exist. In every single fight in my time with the game, enemies just gently floated towards me while firing their guns, and all I had to do was keep moving and keep shooting and I never died. The multiplayer is equally flawed. It's intended for up to 4 friends who know each other to connect and play, and in this regard, it does its job with great stability, but if you're trying to do anything other than that exact scenario, just pretend like Aquanox Deep Descent doesn't have multiplayer. The PvP lobbies were completely empty throughout launch. If you help someone else in their game, you get nothing in your game, and in order for you to progress the missions, everyone needs to be standing on the waypoint, which is super hard to coordinate because there isn't an in-game text or voice chat or pings. So if someone does join your game, it's actually just going to slow you down. Right now you can pick up Aquanox Deep Descent on Steam for $30, but its real value comes in at about half of that. It isn't a bad game, and fans of arcade mech shooters desperate for another installment in the genre will find some joy in it, but overall its beautiful underwater world isn't enough to redeem the story and gameplay, which is ultimately forgettable. So I'm valuing Aquanox Deep Descent at $14, and I highly encourage you to wait for a deep discount on this one. I hope you enjoyed this review of Aquanox Deep Descent. Come see me on Twitch where you can watch our reviews in progress 5 nights a week. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Until next time, peace!